Take me back to the place I know, with the mystery shack and the forest gnomes. I'm already packed, so come on, let's go. Don't get me started, my heart's in Gravity Falls. Welcome to Mystery Shack Look Back, a nostalgic time capsule and no-spoiler book club of the original Gravity Falls fandom. We are your curators. I'm Ella.
Can I be Ella this week?
No.
I guess I'm Charlie then.
We did that already, remember? Like, a season ago.
44 episodes. We're going to start retreading some waters. However, we are doing something today that we have not done.
We're doing something unprecedented on this
Completely
podcast.
unprecedented. No presidents were involved.
None were invited.
No more invited, but many were harmed.
Many.
In the making of this podcast, because Ella and I are next to each other.
We are physically in the same room.
I am touching her arm. Listeners, this is an audio-based medium, so you're just going to have to...
You're just going to have to trust us that we're in the same room together.
We do have someone with us on Discord presently. Who is there?
Guess who's back?
Back again?
Sara's back.
Sarah's back.
Tell a friend.
Oh.
We're going to tell all our friends.
Yeah, Ray's coming over later. I'll probably tell her that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were previously on the Bill Cipher AMA episode, which is one of my favorites. I'm really proud of the edit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I listened back on it, and I was just laughing my ass off again.
In that episode, we had told you, specifically directed you to not plug your Tumblr.
Yes.
Yeah,
And we can't talk about that yet.
Not quite.
We can talk about that after the episode.
So before that, we have some fan mail from listener Dennis. This is specifically in response to our Dungeons, and More Dungeons episode, in which we talked a lot about Weird Al Yankovic and then invited emailers to talk about their experiences with said person.
And one did.
Yeah.
Dennis.
Thanks, Dennis. Let's read it. I was in college, Ole Miss, when the album Bad Hair Day was released. I bought it right before I drove up to Memphis. I actually had an emotional breakdown with the song Everything You Know Is Wrong. From when I was a kid, my parents were pressuring me to get great grades, so much so that I would get sick every winter when new things were presented and not get better until spring, when I was very comfortable with it and looking towards summer. The way I took the song to mean was that I didn't have to have all the answers. I cried and replayed the song over and over again during my trip, and that's my Weird Al story. Thanks, Dennis. That's a nice story.
That was a nice story.
And I feel like that's very similar to your Molly Lewis experience, right? Because it's like...
I mean, there's a lot to be said that about media that you discover at a key point in your life where
for sure.
You need something to focus on. And
yeah.
I think for all of us, Gravity Falls is that to some extent, and that's why...
Yeah, and it certainly was for me, and I was even thinking about it yesterday as I was packing up to drive here with Charlie, because, like, so the wallet that I currently have, and I have had for, like, I don't even know how, at least 5 years now, is a Gravity Falls wallet. It's got, like, Seuss's question mark on the front. It's got Dipper's pine tree on the inside and, like, the Gravity Falls logo. And I think the pine tree is basically, like, completely rubbed off by now. Like, it's in bad shape. It's not doing real well. It still holds money, which is a good thing for a wallet to do, functionally.
We've got to have
money. But aesthetically, it is losing a lot of its luster. And I was thinking, like, I'm going to get a new wallet eventually. And a few years back, I was just thinking, like, you know, Gravity Falls has been over for a few years now. I kind of have other major interests now, so I might just get a wallet with a different theme. But then yesterday, I was looking at the wallet as I was packing it. I was like, you know what? No, I have been reminded of how important this show is to me. So I am actually probably just going to either keep this for, you know, longer and get another Gravity Falls wallet, because it still means a lot to me. And so as we're getting toward the end of the series coverage in this podcast, it was an interesting moment of reflection.
I used to, every time my wallet got worn down, go to Hot Topic and buy a new Zelda wallet.
Yeah!
First wallet.
There you go.
And then I stopped during Gamergate. And after we recorded our Pines Quest episode with David, I'm like, I shouldn't have gotten rid of all my Zelda merch.
Literally, yeah.
And as well as now I know that I am non-binary, and that Link is confirmed by people who have been in charge of the series to be non-binary. By the way, Sarah.
Yeah.
No, you probably knew that. You're as big a Breath of the Wild fan as me.
Yeah.
Sarah, last week we did a Roadside Attraction, which has kind of this reputation of being kind of a smaller scale episode.
So I guess they're probably just going to keep up that trend, and this is also going to be like a light one, I assume.
Yeah.
I haven't actually watched it.
Yes. I actually haven't watched it since. I don't think I have watched Dipper and Mabel versus the Future, the 17th episode of season 2 of Gravity Falls.
Oh, yeah, the 37th overall.
Yes.
And
I don't think I've watched it since October 12th, 2015, actually.
That was when it premiered on Disney XD.
Okay, yes, that would be why that was the date I saw it.
Yeah, it was directed by Steven Sandoval.
That would explain a few things about the visuals.
And the words.
I don't remember the words.
The words were written by Matt Chapman, Josh Weinstein, and Alex Hirsch.
Well, now I wish I remembered the words. They write some great words.
Yeah, the outline for those words was written by Alex Hirsch and Mark Rizzo. And there were some additional words thrown in there just for taste by Jeff Rowe.
Now, we said this is going to be a smaller one. Would a small episode have an outline, 3 writers, and rewrites?
Well, most episodes.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
we did talk about it
This ain't Last Mabel Corn, so okay, that probably shouldn't be anything suspicious.
Yeah, no, nothing at all. And I know that, Sara, you specifically requested this episode. I don't know if it's just a light, quote-unquote filler
one. It's the one that Sara just finds really funny.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get into that reasoning once we watch the episode. So let's get right into it.
The future is coming for us all, dudes.
An incredible new discovery.
Sometimes the strangest things are right under our noses.
Shut up. Turns their world upside down.
You are the only one who can help me.
It's okay, Dipper. You should totally go with Grunkle Ford to save the world or whatever.
I'm going through a bad patch, Mabel. We'll talk when I get back.
Question everything on an all-new Gravity Falls.
I'm sorry, I can't take you seriously with that face on your chin.
What face, Dipper? Monday, October 12th at 8 on Disney XD.
So we just watched Dipper and Mabel versus the Future. Sara, without any further delay, tell us the Tumblr username story.
Okay.
It's been hyped up for several episodes now.
We've been waiting on this, forever. So I had my Tumblr, but I was watching the episode. I just wanted to see if I could just, snag, a canon term that they use in the show. Mm-hmm. Just to get a canon URL or something.
You had the new blog tab just open while the episode was airing the first time.
Yeah, I had the new blog tab open.
Because for people not really necessarily familiar, on Tumblr, to have a URL that is just straight up a name from a show, very, very sought after, very coveted.
It is very sought after. It makes you powerful.
There was, in Tumblr's heyday, a business of people hoarding super hulock URLs that were sought after and then selling them.
Yep.
Selling them. That's terrible. I mean, I used to hoard URLs, but
yeah. So with that contextualized, you had the tab open to make a new blog to claim a URL.
What happened? When Ford, this was during the premiere.
Yeah.
And I was just, when Ford walked over and he was just like,
a hypothetical and catastrophic event I call Weirdmageddon.
I was just like, okay, I'm taking that.
And you did.
I didn't think that term was actually going to be, I thought it was just going to be a one-off joke.
It's not very funny. I don't think Weirdmageddon
it's during the commentary for Dungeons and More Dungeons, Matt says if it's really hard to pronounce it isn't catchy, that's a Matt Chapman. So you have in our notes here, Bizarremageddon is a much better wordplay.
No,
that's what
Bizarremageddon's right there, guys. It's right there.
I really think it was Matt hearing Bizarremageddon and being like, we could cluster more consonants in a row there. We can get a word with RDM, so your mouth just has to go on a whole journey to say it.
Yeah, I guess. I get it on that level. But anyway, it's a really awesome URL, and I'm glad that you
So you've had it. You still have it. It's for the past 7 years. That has been your main Tumblr.
I have not changed it since that premiere. I have not changed it once.
Nor should you.
I did get banned from Tumblr for 1 month in 2017 for hoarding URLs during July.
They should have awarded you. They should have, instead of punishing you, they should have given you a trophy for hoarding the best URLs.
And for still being on Tumblr in 2017.
And that one.
I was just spending my time on one of my side blogs, which is another canon URL that wasn't taken for some reason. It was the final dungeon in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky, Temporal Tower, and I turned it into... It just wasn't taken!
You know what? I'm realizing that hoarding URLs is an art form, and we've got the Da Vinci with us.
Yeah, did you get a lot of offers on weirdmageddon.tumblr.com?
No, seriously, people ask me, how do you get that URL? And I was just I got it fair and square. I just I just typed it in.
Yeah.
It's mine. No. Sara would not get offers because Sara has made it very clear that that is her URL and they can't have it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fair and square.
Whenever Bill says Weirdmageddon, I'm just like, that's me.
That's you.
And you're like, yeah? What's up? What's up, man?
An event I call weirdmageddon.tumblr.com.
Yeah.
Also known as Sara.
Yeah. Hey, Sara.
Hi.
How are you?
So this episode's mostly about Ford being the worst person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
although
yeah,
it's,
oh boy.
I think you actually shortened its title when you.
Oh, yes, the full title, of course. No. We have this joke that we've been telling since we did the Dipper versus Manliness episode that I have been waiting to deliver until this episode, and it's not funny. And I spent all that time hyping it up. It is Dipper versus Mabel versus the future versus Manliness versus the monorail is what I call both of those episodes.
Yeah.
The monorail.
Simpsons, because, yeah.
Marge versus the monorail is a really good Simpsons episode that I guarantee Alex probably has memorized.
Yes, Simpsons loves their blank versus blank episode title structures. There's so many of them.
The ultimate court case.
Yeah. Yeah. At the start of this episode, we get... I feel like it was said, like, outside of the show before by Alex or someone else, but official in-show confirmation that Dipper Mabel's birthday's coming up. It's on August 31st. It's at the end of the summer months.
That's also Hatsune Miku's birthday.
I mean, it's, literally a day before September starts, which in most United States, the states of those United States that were united, is recognized as the first month of the school year.
Yeah. Until you get a bunch of days off for Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, and you might as well just start it after.
Well, a lot of schools started in August for exactly that reason. That's why I said most states.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Mazel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in Florida, and they started really early. I think it's because, I know in Florida, I used to live in New Jersey. They started school in September, but down in Florida, they started in August, but they also let out in May. So
so you get out early. Okay, it's so you get out as the summer is starting instead of deep in it.
Yeah, because then that way you're not crammed into a building when it is starting to be summer
like
in
100
Florida.
degrees. But also because the tourism industry, they want if kids need to work jobs.
You got kind of a world around there, like
like a whole world in Orlando that kind of deals with a lot of the income of your state.
Yeah. Alex Hirsch has stated that basically how to break down Dipper and Mabel's arcs for the entire series is Dipper wants to grow up too fast and Mabel doesn't. And this is the episode that encapsulates that quote.
Yeah, that's the core conflict.
And it's been building throughout the series, but Summerween was the first time where they really hit on it. And it was early.
There's some Summerween. Carpe Diem hits on it a little. Yeah. So it's been it's a seed that was planted a while ago, and now it's finally sprouting into a horrifying plant creature.
I don't like this plant creature.
No.
It reminds me of the one from the Thing from Another World.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's a plant creature instead of a shapeshifter.
Oh, okay.
It's easier to film a plant creature.
That's true. A lot of this episode is just Ford sucks. Ford sucks.
And Dipper's he's like, hey, Dipper, by the way, I just wanted to inform you that I suck. And then Dipper, the whole episode, was like, this guy's great.
Yeah.
Wow. He's the best. And he's like, no, I am in fact the worst. You were mistaken in your calculations. It's like the best.
Yeah.
Last time I was here, we also talked about an Invader Zim episode, but I do want to bring this up.
Okay, yes.
This reminds me of the unfinished episode, Mopiness of Doom, where Dib quits his well, honestly, in the Invader Zim world, apparently the paranormal and the scientific aren't able to be combined. But basically, he sort of joins his dad's side, and being a real scientist. And it reminds me of Professor Membrane looking through Dib's calculations, and he's just like,
very good, nice, splendid, and boom! How can this be? You used a sine when you should have used a cosine.
And I can tell that something's wrong. You can tell me, son.
That's Ford and Dipper's relationship.
Yeah, so, Sara, what is your major?
Biopsychology, with neuroscience sprinkled in.
So why don't you weigh on what Ford is offering to Dipper and why that is not a good or healthy thing, then?
Okay, I actually just took a personality psychology class this course, so I can kind of weed my way through here.
Well, see how Ford likes it when he's the one being studied, huh?
Yeah. Ford has, ego issues. Let's just say that.
He sure does.
No, what?
Big secrets revealed.
Big secrets revealed. Ford has intense ego issues.
Yeah, Ford thinks that he is unto a god. That's why he had a muse. And then everyone else is just like people.
Yeah, and here we have Ford's sense of superiority actually rubbing off on Dipper.
Ford sees everyone as, like, NPCs.
Exactly. Literally, though. There's,
We kept making riffs that he kept confusing details of Dipper's life with his, because he's so selfish that he can't remember things about other people.
Right! So go on, Sarah.
Your twin, Stan, what are twins called these days?
Yeah, the issue with Ford is that, he's, like, just this type of guy that needs to relate every single, like, he can't let something be, if he can't sort of...
I am uncomfortable and we are not about me.
Yeah, if he can't sort of, like, internalize, like, or see his own experiences in something, he cannot give a crap less about it.
It's not on his radar. He doesn't see it.
It's not on his radar whatsoever. And Dipper is pretty much the exact opposite of that, where, you know, like, I wouldn't even call it selfishness, but, like, a more universal standpoint, like, where he's sort of looking, like, all around him, but he finds, like, his own being the least important aspect of things.
Yeah, I think he wants to fit in with the rest of the world, whereas Ford is like, no, I'm better than the rest of the world. I don't care about what other people think of me.
Alex in the commentary stated this wonderfully.
Ford sees Dipper as somebody who's special like himself.
Yeah.
And that's Ford's great flaw is arrogance, is he believes that there's special people and everyone else.
And that you can be held back by your siblings, maybe.
Yeah. That human attachments are actually weaknesses.
Yes.
And the song and dance that he's giving Dipper right now is the exact song and dance that he gave McGucket back when they were younger, which is like, sure, you could continue working on your job and computers, but like, you and me are different. We're better than everyone else. We have a path that no one else can understand, and only us can do this. And it's a very seductive idea for Dipper. Dipper is a smart kid, but Ford's projecting.
Yeah.
Ford loves Dipper because he sees someone who will tell him yes to everything.
Right.
Who will never challenge him, who will do a really insane, dangerous mission. It's a seductive offer, but ultimately, Dipper needs to learn not to try to grow up too fast.
Yeah?
Yeah, the issue with this is people who are like, we're better than everyone else. We have a path no one else can understand. That makes me want to gag. Ew.
Me too.
Like, what is that?
Ella and I have a Patreon where people give us money to hang out, but we don't think that makes us special. We actually think all people deserve to be paid to hang out with their best friends.
Yeah.
True.
I like it. I'm having fun with this.
Yeah, it's a good system.
And I think it should just be a universal. So everyone should have a Patreon.
Yeah, like, Ford's issue is that, like, you can see it in his actions, and that he's clearly experienced, because he's been in, like, the portal for how many, 30 long years, and he has been doing all this action-y stuff. Dipper is literally, like, a 12-year-old kid who is, like, barely, like, this is, like, his first summer really seeing everything that's just crazy in the world. Ford's been doing that for 30 years. There's such, like,
right.
They're at completely different levels, and Ford's talking
to Dipper like an equal when he's not.
I don't know how he expects Dipper to do all this stuff.
Because he is a prepubescent child.
And there's an irony there, because Ford sees himself as better than everyone else, except he sees Dipper as
he sees this little boy. Yeah. He's like, well, that's a god like me. And he's like, I am very sweaty.
That's
tired.
Dipper is the one person that he should,
I don't know why Ford doesn't just, like, look at Dipper and be like, whoa, that's a sweaty little boy.
Sweaty little freak.
That's a sweaty little freak.
And he did it first.
And that's the thing. I mean, Dipper idolized Ford as, you know, like, oh, the author. And Ford was just like, this kid is, like, stroking my ego. All right.
Right.
I like this. I like this kid.
And Dipper has already spent, like, half of the summer idolizing him before he even met him.
Mm-hmm. Ford is intelligent, like, IQ-wise, but he is not wise. Let me just say that.
Yeah, absolutely. He is book smart and nothing else
That's
smart.
it. He's like, no, I don't know about any other type of smarts. I don't know. I would have read them in a book if there were others.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to talk about. As I was saying, as a biopsychology major, there are major issues in this episode with the deal of adrenaline.
Oh yeah, with the prison drones.
Yeah. The fact that Dipper was able to take the drone down in the end is what made Ford is ultimately what's like sealed the deal.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that was founded on like bullshit.
Yeah.
There are so many things going on here. His great uncle just got captured. He is experiencing like all these new things for the first time. He is like just going through so much stress right now.
He's thinking about his future for like they had a conversation about what is he going to do when he's home, like
all that stuff. He's flying through the sky at like 100 miles per hour.
That happened. Yep.
As I said, his great uncle's about to be like taken off to like some like outer space prison.
That might not even exist anymore because we don't know how long ago this thing was programmed.
Oh yeah, we have space prison abolition now. We're actually pretty cool now.
Like, oh, another one of these robots got lost somewhere, and then
the ship broke through a water tower.
It did. It destroyed Robbie's artwork.
I mean, that whole scene has like cinematic level animation. I was just staring at it. I'm like, this aired on TV.
It is gorgeous, and so are like all the colors.
Oh yeah.
When Ford hit his head, he thought his great uncle like maybe died or something, or at least it was like comatose or something. Then he crashed. He is covered in like bruises and cuts and all this stuff. That is bodily stress. That all of that happening. It has nothing to do.
So he can't get rid of that adrenaline.
No, it has nothing to do with if you're actually like feeling fear or not. Fear is just one way to get adrenaline up.
Yeah.
I mean, he obviously is like brave. Definitely brave. Like, I'm sure, like, he feels really strongly. He's, another thing, he's also, like, angry in that scene.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a Disney character, and it takes place in 2012. Of course he's brave.
Yeah. Of course he's brave. Yeah, but, like, all of that, you can't have a heart rate that low. That's not happening. Then, because of that, the security droid, like, deactivated, and then... like, Ford was just like...
This is what I was talking about. How many other 12-year-olds do you think are capable of doing what you've just done?
None of them, because that's impossible.
Yeah, and that's literally, like, what you're studying is biopsychology, which is the biology of how you're feeling and thinking.
I wrote a post last May, and I think... I'm a lot better at, like, communicating my thoughts in writing. So here's what I wrote. It was an analysis of this. I said, the reason that part at the end is so important and why I'm making such a big stink over it, is because Ford uses this as evidence for why Dipper is special. I did it, you did it. This is what I was talking about. How many 12-year-olds are capable of doing what you've just done? But, like, did Dipper really? I'm not saying this to shoot Dipper down or make him out to be more of a wuss. He was incredibly strong-willed here, and I don't want to take that away from him because it was growth on his part. But the underlying, like, psychophysiological reactions of aggression and fear shouldn't be that different, and this was a total pull. Maybe the droid was so old that it messed up. Maybe Dipper being covered in grime and dirt made it harder for the droid to measure the adrenaline or the correct heart rate. And in all honesty, everything I just said brings into question the interpersonal healthiness of Ford's judgments, what he thinks, his expectations, and how he communicates that. In this video, which I linked in the post, Alex already talks about how Ford is projecting onto Dipper, and I think Ford may be projecting his expectations for himself onto people who are not him, and the fact that it's on Dipper here makes it far more unfortunate.
Yep.
You realize how much this boy idolizes Ford, right? How much impressions matter?
Yeah.
Dipper even tells himself before he leaves the same episode, alright Dipper, this is your first big mission with Great Uncle Ford, don't mess this up.
Yeah.
Even though it's unstated, the implicit message Dipper is perceiving from Ford on their dynamic is, do you have what it takes for me to be proud of you?
Right.
And to accomplish this, he must be like Ford, even though he's clearly not, and he knows this. He says,
I'm not sure I have what it takes. I was tricked by Bill, I was wrong about Stan's portal. Heck, I can't even operate this magnet gun right.
Then by simple chance, without even knowing what he did, he activates the magnet gun and pulls out the adhesive, which immediately takes the focus away from what Dipper was telling Ford about his feelings of inadequacy to Ford saying, yes, Dipper, you found the adhesive. Like, Ford never got a chance to reply to Dipper on that.
Right. Dipper never actually proves anything about himself.
These thoughts of Dipper's hang in the air without resolve or comment from Ford. We don't know what Ford would have said, but then it becomes painfully self-evident in the scene immediately after when the droids emerge and Ford tells Dipper they're security droids and they detect adrenaline. You simply have to not feel any fear and they won't see you. To which Dipper replies with an exasperated and rightful, "What?" Dipper goes into a panic, trying to indirectly tell his uncle that this isn't something he can do, and he's completely valid and right to be freaked out by that. Full stop. That is crazy. You can't control your fear, but you can control how you interpret that fear in your higher brain regions. But the physiological changes will stick around for longer than it takes to cognitively calm yourself. It's easy for me to detach from my emotions to analyze them, but being able to do this does not come naturally for everyone. Even I have like an irrational fear of wasps, and I can't control it by detaching myself. My body just automatically is primed to get the hell out of there. I know it's stupid.
Dipper, you're right, does not really necessarily do anything to prove himself to Ford, but Ford has this kind of confirmation bias where he would have made that offer to Dipper regardless, because he's projecting. Yeah. No matter what Dipper does or what he messes up, Ford still sees himself in Dipper, and in Ford's eyes, Ford can do no wrong.
So, expecting composure from Dipper in a situation like this, when he's being made to consciously be aware of his anxiety, is, like, absolutely insane. Look at what you did, placing these cruel expectations on him. Now he's afraid of being afraid.
Right.
This isn't a case where two wrongs cancel out, they just stack on top of each other.
Yeah.
What Dipper fears from Ford is disappointment, not living up to his uncle's, and quite frankly badly placed, expectations for a 12-year-old with anxiety. Not once did Ford say or subliminally communicate, I don't expect you to be able to do what I can since you are not as experienced as I am, and that's perfectly okay, no judgments. You don't put a child on a bike before training wheels. You don't throw a kid into a swimming pool without giving them swimming lessons. The way Ford is doing it, there's no room for trial and error or mistakes that are an opportunity to grow and learn. Instead, it's life or death. He only seems to pride Dipper on what he can do while ignoring the underlying struggles that plague him and never making it known it's okay for Dipper to fail in front of his hero and that he won't think anything less of him for it. And that's why I found the ending scene for Dipper and Ford's adventure on this level, this episode, why it feels so wrong, on a scientific and social level, because by the sound of it, Ford focused more on what Dipper had done to dismantle the droid not detecting any fear, instead of how Dipper displayed love and protection for him, even if he was truly afraid. What if the science was accurate and the droid detected adrenaline while Dipper was confidently standing up to his uncle? Would Ford be still proud of him regardless?
Yeah, and in Tale of Two Stands, I'm thinking about when Dipper is initially, like, idolizing the author, and Ford, he's like, okay, we have time to talk about it later. I have to talk to my brother. Like, he's a little uncomfortable. But I think from every point after that, he's consciously or otherwise basically taking advantage of this, like, pre-existing parasocial relationship between Dipper and the author. And at first he's initially a little uncomfortable with the idolization. And then the beginning of Dungeons, and More Dungeons, Dipper is an NPC to him. He's just like, nope, you can't follow me. You can't. And then as soon as he realizes that they have, like, similar interests and similar, like, yeah,
you must like the same board games as me to be God.
Right. And it is essentially that's how they grow closer and how he realizes that he can start projecting onto this kid. So, like, yeah, it almost, in a way, would have been better if he'd treated Dipper like an NPC. I don't know. Like, it's shocking, like, because he has just two modes of interacting with someone, right? And we see both. We see, nope, you're nobody to me, you're nothing, or you are everything.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
He's exactly like a cat in that regard.
He is.
I love when you make these observations on Gravity Falls characters that is just like 3 words, but it tells you
everything
people who have never seen the show everything they need to.
Thank you. That's
like last time you were here, you said Bill is the kind of person who would throw birdseed between the pigeons so they would fight. And that's like the best description of Bill I've ever heard. The previous fan theory that the cliffs were made by a UFO crash is 100% confirmed here.
Yep, it sure is.
The prison drone we were just discussing is based on the Navigator the titular character from Flight of the Navigator, which I told you I have seen possibly 30 times.
Amazing.
Have I told you that one?
I don't know if you have.
I was the boy who brings the turkey in a production of Scrooge the Musical, which means I wasn't until in the last scene, and they had Flight of the Navigator playing backstage for the students from getting bored, but everyone else had to be in Act 1.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone else only caught a scene or line.
So every show they played Flight of the Navigator.
They did not have a second DVD.
Yeah. Okay. It is. I always think, like, what a jerk. Like, I mean, throughout this episode, but especially when Ford's like, it's easy, Dipper. All you have to do is just not feel fear. And then, oh, you're afraid? Have you tried simply not?
Have you tried meditation? Have you tried yoga?
He's literally like, have you tried yoga?
It's like, well, you should drink more water, Dipper.
Yeah.
You're scared of things. Have you tried water?
You have anxiety? Have you tried meditating?
Yeah, honestly. Like, how much of an do you have to be to, like, tell, like, some 12-year-old kid you brought on you with a mission, oh, just okay, just don't feel any fear.
Oh, the answer to your question is Ford. The Ford amount of...
How do you, like, tell, like, a 12-year-old you just brought on you with, like, this mission, and then he's just like, you know, oh, it's okay, just don't feel any fear. By the way, these things detect adrenaline. Like, what the...
Yeah, well, Sarah, the way you do that is if you just have to be a very bad person first.
Yeah. And then you just jump down a, 50-story drop and tell the 12-year-old kid to follow you.
Yeah, come on,
Say hop.
just say hop, it helps. What?
Don't worry, all the aliens are long dead.
Probably. He's taking the chance of this.
No, yeah, of course, because Dipper will just follow him anyway. Mm-hmm. He knows that.
I love how all UFO fiction feels like it has an obligation to explain crop circles. That was one of the many moments I stormed out of Jupiter Ascending. I was like, I don't care. I've already had 30 different fictions giving me an option. I've picked my favorite of those already years ago.
It is more implied here than usual because
I know,
it's just
and
like,
that I like, but it just made me think of
the visual designs of a lot of the UFO components resemble like crop circles. And there's overall the whole going into the UFO is a lot of like, and this was intentional from the commentary, like to give the suggestion of aliens, but to maintain a level of mystery.
Look at the peculiar shape made by those cliffs. Does it remind you of anything?
Everyone, like from the moment this was, it's kind of funny because in the commentary, Alex is like, we had the shape of the cliffs in like late season 1, but I never really saw anyone theorize about it. And I'm like, everyone thought that it was a UFO. Like,
Alex likes to think he spends his entire free time on the internet looking at fan theories, but his entire free time is 3 minutes, so he couldn't catch everything.
Yeah, that's probably the case. And it leads to questions about the origin of Gravity Falls' weirdness itself. And Ford poses it as a question rather than like something that he has like a working theory on.
It's a hypothesis, not a theory.
Yeah, there's a difference apparently.
There is.
A theory is based on evidence. Hypothesis is hypothesis is also based on evidence. But
no, a theory is this
like,
is what I think the evidence concludes, and a hypothesis is
from the evidence.
Yeah, here's what I think we should do an experiment to see.
Yeah, it's interesting that it is very deliberately just left open. Of like, I don't know, maybe it was the weirdness attracted the spacecraft. Maybe the spacecraft attracted the weirdness. We don't really know.
Maybe the chicken laid the egg.
Maybe the chicken.
Or maybe the chicken came from an egg.
Or maybe the shapeshifter came from the egg.
Maybe the egg came from the shapeshifter, Sarah.
Yeah. Or maybe he turned into an egg.
Maybe he turned into a chicken.
Oh, yeah.
Probably. I mean, who wouldn't? If you just found out about chickens for the first time, if you were from a planet with no chickens...
I mean, that's what Peridot did.
What's a chicken?
Well, sort of. She got Amethyst to turn into
And in the Star Wars universe, there is canonically only one planet with chickens, which is the forest moon of Endor.
Yeah.
I get the joke now.
So not only was this foreshadowed by the shape of the cliffs themselves, but also in Journal 1, I believe it's Tale of Two Stands that we see it, or maybe not what he seems, I forget which one, but there's a code on the page about the cliffs that reads,
"My compass goes haywire the closer I get to them. Does this mean what I think it does? The answer may be underground."
And it was underground.
Oh, okay. That's what we call a hypothesis. Well, it was when he wrote that.
Yes.
Now, it's a theory.
Theory.
Wait. I think it's a law.
My theory.
I think he's probably 100% confirmed that it is underground.
My theory is that there's a ship underground. I know. Because I was there.
Then he finds the hatch to enter it and is like, all right, now my Well, first his hypothesis is that there's a ship underground. Then he finds the hatch, and he's like, now my theory is that the ship is underground. And then he climbs down the ladder, and now the law.
Yeah. And it's revealed that that's where they got the portal parts, which makes a lot of sense, because there's that kind of upside-down triangle motif throughout.
And those symbols.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. I didn't even realize that. What?
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. I'm completely serious.
I love like the kind of iridescent look that they give like the prison droids and the ship.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
It's a great way to make it look otherworldly in, a show where they've already done so many like weird creature designs and things like that, but how do you make it look like it's not from Earth,
Yeah. I remember reading some of the on the Gravity Falls Tumblr, they had they reblogged like a bunch of, or posted rather, a bunch of the backgrounds, and there was some commentary by the people who made them, and I remember reading something about the people who did the background art on that, and they did talk about going for that real otherworldly look with the iridescence,
and as well as like the integration of the CG in that chase scene is really really well done. Like Charlie said, it looks feature quality, I think, as well as the colors in the last 5 minutes or so.
Right. They have a sundown kind of look to make the transition to Weirdmageddon and the Bill stuff in the sky smoother,
and it feels just foreboding as it happens. Yeah.
I'd say it kind of sunsets our story from a brighter story into a darker one.
They did that in season.
But they did it again. Yeah. They did it in
Not What He
Sings as well. They keep doing that. They keep using that sunset thing.
But it's not all bad news. It's not all bad news, because in this episode we get confirmation that Grenda and Marius are dating. They're going steady.
And Marius is madly in love, and Grenda
obviously
has not been close with him enough yet for that energy to be matched, so she's getting a little exhausted. She'll get there, I think.
Well, I think they just have to talk about it.
No one can fall in love as quickly as they can with Grenda.
Exactly.
Like, this is a separate person we're talking about, so it'll take a bit.
Yeah. Grenda's
she likes him.
Marius, believe me, if you were Grenda, I would be in love with you as much as you are in love with me.
But right now, we just met, we're still getting to know each other.
Yeah.
You're allowed to fall madly in love with me. Everybody does.
Everybody does.
It's not. I'm not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Marius wants to get Marius'd immediately.
Marius.
That was bad. That was a lot funnier in my head.
Grendator, would you take my hand in Marius's? That worked out better in the rehearsal. I got some good takes, and you should have been there.
We get to see her lizard again. I feel like we haven't seen the iguana.
Part of half of.
I love Grenda's iguana.
Half of my favorite ship.
Your favorite ship, that's right.
Ringuano name, yeah.
Yeah.
But we didn't see Pacifica's no-name friend earrings.
No.
I want to know if they're still together.
Well, hopefully. I mean, if love's in the air, if Grenda and Marius are together, maybe. And we get like our first and only glimpse into Candy's home life, which is that she has to get sent off to music camp.
She's forced to do music and
at the end of the summer.
And is terrified.
Yeah.
Which, as I said, is a little stereotypical, but I like it for Candy.
What if Candy pulls like an Owl House thing and escapes from camp to just go to
Maybe she did.
It did. It happened.
Maybe she did.
It happened. Yeah, that's what happens next in Gravity Falls after the series is over.
There is one escape from music camp.
Or it could just be like Toy Story 3 and she does a heist for all of the students. Like gets them all out of the walls. A jailbreak.
It's like The Great Escape, yeah.
What do you think? And they use their instruments, like they tie ropes to their flutes to turn so when they throw it to a rope it like swings around.
Well, honestly, but like just call Grenda.
Yeah. She will.
Yeah.
Well, Grenda's the getaway driver, so they have to get out first.
I thought she was going to just like burst through the wall.
Grenda will burst through the wall, but they have to get to the wall.
Yeah.
You understand.
Yeah. That sequence with Candy and Grenda is part of a series of heartbreaks that happens to poor Mabel over the course of this episode. I feel so bad just talking about it. It's really sad what happens to, like, Dipper's plot in this episode is just up and up and up, like, just talking with Ford about his future and getting offered this apprenticeship where he can...
There was a cut scene of his ups in this as well. There was supposed to be a scene where Dipper confides in Ford his birth name.
That's right.
Oh,
It's so much, like, closeness with this person that he idolizes, and Mabel, meanwhile, is just feeling more and more distant from everyone, and as Dipper gets more and more hopeful about his future, Mabel feels more scared about hers.
Less certain.
Yeah, and she So she visits the high school to try to use their gym for their birthday party and finds out from Wendy that high school is not all musicals, as she was led to believe.
Sara, when's your birthday?
July 22nd.
So this is coming out in May. We are in the last 2 months of Sara's teenagerdom. You're almost free.
You're almost
out. Free.
No longer will you have an age that ends in teen.
Was the way that they described high school and teenage years in this episode on point, or was it on point?
No, yeah,
not really. Actually, I mean, not in the high school
really?
I went to. Yeah, I went to like a sort of a technical high school where they had like little course. So it's different.
Okay. Oh. I get you as well, but because I went to a special education high school, but this was my experience of public middle school for sure.
Yeah, no, I did not go to public middle school. I went to
thank God. Oh my God. Well, that would be explained why you're so well adjusted.
Yeah,
bro, I would have been bullied. I would have hated it so much.
No, that's not a hypothesis. I can confirm you would have hated it.
Yeah.
I went to an arts high school, so every day was kind of a musical, but it was still high school, you know? My body did flat out turn against me.
I feel that about being in an environment with ADHD awareness and 19 classmates. I still felt like, they still give you homework.
Of course.
that you have to do every night.
I don't know. In my high school, we didn't even have any lockers. Like, we just carried stuff on our backs. Yeah. It was,
everything's unlocked?
It was really small.
Free access to your belongings? Whoa!
Carried it on our backs like men.
You could like take your phone out like during. Well, some teachers didn't like that more than the others, but yeah.
All right. Well, I am going back in time, and
I'm going back to high school.
I'm going back in time to when I was 14 years old, and I am enrolling in your high school, Sara. Good news, we're going to be classmaats.
Yeah.
Yay!
I'm also going forward in time to when you were that age, so we could hang out.
So, yeah, I feel like I most relate to Thompson's reaction to high school.
Yeah.
Can't do it! Can't do another year!
I legitimately sat people down and had a discussion about wanting to drop out of high school 2 months before graduation. Mm-hmm. Like a real actual conversation, like this is something I've been considering.
Yeah.
And at the time I was glad I didn't do it. And now that I look back, I'm like, why did I do this to me?
Yeah.
Why did I do what is a high school degree ever? What would I have learned in the 2 months before summer break and graduation?
I had the saddest high school graduation ever.
Aww.
It was like right when the pandemic started.
Oh no!
Oh.
And when everyone was getting up on the stage, you just took the diploma and it was over in like 2 seconds. It was horrible.
When I realized, right after I got home from graduation, when I realized I'd never have to get on a school bus again in my entire life, as a person with severe motion sickness, I cried tears of joy for 3 straight hours.
Wow. I hate school bus. They like kick the back of the seat. That's why I always sit in the back of the bus. I can't stand when
That's where the cool kids sit.
That's where the cool Yeah.
You're a cool kid. We're all cool kids. Don't worry, nobody's born cool. Except for one
Ella
person.
and I do this thing called transitioning, which makes you just cooler every day.
It does.
More than the previous day.
It does.
So true.
Does. So that was the first heartbreak, was realizing that high school is not what she was looking forward to. And the second heartbreak is Candy and Grenda, and the third heartbreak is Dipper. But there was a fourth one that was cut for time, in which Mabel finds out from her parents in California that she cannot take Waddles home. And that was just to put her in an additionally devastated state. Part of me is like, stop, she's already dead. Like, you don't have to bully her anymore, but it would have been really effective, for sure. We've seen her lose Waddles twice, actually, over the course of season 1. One was where this horrifying, wrinkly, sharp-toothed demon kind of took Waddles away, and then there was the pterodactyl that took Waddles.
Hey!
Yeah. I think that would have. I get why it was cut, but it makes me sad. How do you feel about Mabel in this episode, Sara?
I feel really bad for her. I mean, I do personally agree with Dipper that things need to move forward, but
right.
I mean, I can't deny that Mabel's feeling awful, and I'm not gonna chalk her up to just being this terrible, selfish person.
No, who would do that? Who would say that about Mabel Pines?
Who would even accuse Mabel of being selfish, and why of being here?
You really think people would go on the internet and say that about Mabel?
Yeah.
No, it's impossible.
No.
It's not been proven
no one's
that it's...
And no one's saying that.
No.
No one has ever called Mabel selfish.
Because she's not. She's an incredibly empathetic character.
She absolutely is.
She just has more friends than her brother, and her brother's just got the one.
Well, yeah, because Mabel has everything to lose, like, socially, and Dipper is just now getting something to
and
lose.
Ford is like, you'll only talk to me for the rest of your life. And he's like, that doesn't change anything about my life.
Yeah, exactly. Dipper is only now having, like, someone that, I mean, other than Mabel.
Whereas
obviously.
Mabel's best friend is the pizza guy she talked to for a couple minutes.
Yeah, that's my goal.
I'm like that, and I bring you with me, and I'm like, we're going to befriend this pizza guy. And
I would like to do that independently as
well.
well.
I'll teach you.
I can, yeah.
Be a spaniel to my gate, Ella.
I don't understand that.
Me neither. I heard Stephen Colbert say it once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's how I get most of my references.
He's funny.
He's a funny guy.
He's like, he should be a comedian.
Yeah. While that bonding between Grunkle and nephew happens, there's another nice scene of bonding between Grunkle Stan and Mabel, except for the end, which... This, honestly, the first time I watched it, like, made me angrier than anything Ford does in this episode, which I know is disproportionate, but Stan is basically trying to cheer up Mabel about, like, you know, you don't have to, like, grow up just because you're getting older. And then he's like,
hey, at least whatever happens after this summer, you'll still have your brother along with you through thick and thin. Not everyone can say that, you know?
Shut up! You're projecting almost as much as Ford is. You're just attaching your trauma onto Mabel, and it's not relevant. And Mabel's this whole fear of losing Dipper started because of hearing about Stan and Ford's backstory. So for him to compare...
Add that onto it,
yeah, for him to compare his life to Mabel's is not helpful in the slightest.
No.
Yeah, because, I mean, how does Mabel know that she'll always have Dipper through thick and thin, right?
Exactly, exactly. And because everything else that has happened to her today suggests that nothing is truly reliable, that everything is capable of being just taken away from her.
Yep.
And then it's confirmed. Although, originally, the apprenticeship that Ford offers Dipper was going to be offered to Dipper from a government agent, like Powers or Trigger.
That's why he gives Dipper...
That would have been way less effective.
business card in Karaoke, and so, well, that's it, is that they set it up in Karaoke by him giving him the business card. They came across the Ford thing while writing, and they're like, what if we just did it with him instead? Would that be stronger?
He's an actual character. The agents are plot devices.
Yes, and we still have remnants of a plot that was not, I don't care.
What?
We still have remnants of a plot that was not touched on. The agents kind of just stopped being important. I don't care.
No, but and it makes sense in universe why they got their minds wiped.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't
think about it too hard.
No, I never will.
Mabel overhearing Dipper's conversation with Ford is actually based on a real event in Alex and Ariel Hirsch's childhood.
I've never heard about this story before.
Yeah, this is from the commentary. So the twins, they did competitive improv on a team in middle school, which makes so much sense. And
that Alex and is writing the quippier conversational lines of the show, and Mabel is based on Ariel.
Yeah.
And
in their last year of middle school, the high school team, which was legendary,
the legendary high school improv team in Piedmont, California.
Yeah.
Have you seen these guys? They're yesing, they're ending. I don't know how they do it.
So they were super hyped up. They were the year above them, and they asked to recruit Alex, but not Ariel. And Ariel was listening in on the conversation, was initially really upset and burst into tears, but Alex, without skipping a beat, rejected the offer. He was just like, nope, you can't do that. You can't split us up. That is, like, there is this inherent wrongness in, like, sacrificing unity for the sake of ego, because they were like, you know, you're really good, and we already have, we don't need two Hirsches, so just join. And I feel like even if Ariel had not been listening in on the conversation, Alex still would have just been like, no, I'm not doing that.
And in senior year, I was put on the AP literature because I'm really good with linguistics. And I would have had college credits, but they're like, all right, so we tell you how many pages to read, and then you go home and you read that much, and then you do the assignments, versus the regular high school English was reading the stories out loud with each other, and I'm like, no, I'm doing that one. I will forgo the college credits to be loud.
Right. And it's what Dipper should have said, but he's like, let me think about that, because he's in a different place than Alex was, I suppose. And also, there'd be no story. But
oh, that would do it, actually.
Yeah,
that's probably it. Is that they thought, they tried writing the episode without it. They're like, well, it just kind of stops.
Yeah. Like with the themes of growing up, that seed has been planted a while ago of, like, Dipper and Mabel kind of maybe drifting apart? ? I guess we'll find out.
Honestly, it's a little ridiculous that there's an audio-based museum of Gravity Falls and you are only a guest. So let's fix that. Do you want to be a docent, Sarah?
And we know that your graduation from high school might have been a little disappointing, but we have our own graduation ceremony to take you from guest on your first guest spot to docent on your second.
Which is, by the way, for those who haven't Googled it yet, that means volunteer tour guide at an American museum.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that term.
Yeah, a lot of people have told us they've learned it from this podcast, but I used to be one at a furniture museum. I have a weird life.
I knew it from this really weird show I like.
Place your right hand in the air, place your left hand on this copy of Journal 3.
Oh.
We are giving you in the physical space that we both occupy.
Of course.
All right, I'm placing it.
Now, repeat after me.
Yes.
Repeat after me?
Repeat after me.
Okay. All right, there we go. I state your name.
I, Sara. Oh, wait, no. I state your name. Okay.
There you go. Now you're getting it.
Both are acceptable. We take both.
Yeah.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
To uphold the duties of a Mystery Shack Look-Back docent.
To uphold the duties of a Mystery Shack Look-Back docent.
To preserve the history.
To preserve the history.
And protect the mystery.
And protect the mystery.
Of the Gravity Falls fandom.
Of the Gravity Falls fandom.
And I promise!
And I promise!
To help Charley build a boat next time I'm in Point Pleasant so we can sail the world together as queer pirates.
To help Charley build a boat the next time I'm in Point Pleasant so we can sail the world together as queer pirates.
There you go.
Well, you promised.
Sealed the deal.
That's legally binding.
It is,
So that's happening now.
Okay.
Everybody knows that podcast oaths are legal.
So why don't we have our docent guide us to the Hall of Conspiracies?
All right, give me the cane. Give me this cane. I got to be the tour guide.
Okay,
no.
The 8-ball cane. Yeah, right. Here you go.
We also got a 4-ball cane.
Well, that's only half as long.
Yeah.
It's not really.
Well,
more of a shillelagh.
I'm short. It'll work out.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Here's the 4-ball one.
All right, fellas, we're going to the Hall of Conspiracies right this way.
Fellas are the imaginary guests, I guess, because it's just Ella and I right now. But gender neutral. From Sara, it's not a gendered fellas.
Like a fellowship.
The fellowship of the ring.
Fellowship.
Yeah.
It's short for fellowship.
All right, so we're here. We're in the Hall of Conspiracies. We're a fellowship. This first one, actually. So this comes to us from our good friend Steven from the subreddit. I feel like Great Uncle Ford is projecting his own family issues onto Dipper. Like, he assumed that Dipper wouldn't want to be chained down by his sister because Ford spent most of his adult life hating his brother. Ford doesn't realize that Dipper loves his sister. Not like, I struggle to put up with you, but I'd care if you died, but loves her company and wants to spend time with her and wants to be there for her when she needs it, because that emotional distancing is all Ford's ever known, so he assumes the Dipper would pick his own ambitions over being shackled to his family. And I sincerely hope Ford is wrong.
Wow, Steven's smart.
Yeah. We should be friends with him.
We should be best friends with him.
Yeah.
This one comes from Eskar Goofy on the subreddit. And Eskar Goofy, who is goofy if he was a snail man.
He was a French snail.
A snail man instead of a dog man. Says, I'm getting even more of a Rick Sanchez vibe from Ford in this episode than usual. The way he's so cavalier with Dipper's safety. The way weird stuff like aliens has become blasé to him. The way he bashes traditional education. The way he uses bombastic techniques to solve simple problems, like shaving. Some of it's charming, but a lot of it is unsettling. I'm not saying Ford's a bad guy, but I think he may be oblivious to a lot of the things which causes him more pain than is needed. Dipper and Ford may be intellectual prodigies, but they should be careful not to discount the emotional intelligence of Stan and Mabel.
Yeah, Eskar Goofy then fell off a cliff after typing.
It happens.
It happens.
That's where his desk is.
Yeah. I mean, it's a much slower fall though than the snail. Yeah, very, very, very perceptive. So
also, I do commissions if any of you need a Goofy.
Do we want to get this one to?
Absolutely, Sarah.
This comes from Maximum Risk 2004 on the subreddit, who says, "The UFO, though, one of these things is not like the other. Want to bet that the UFO has a bigger role in the lore than we know yet? Gnomes, unicorns, zombies, and magic are one thing, but now we have a UFO from our dimension in the mix, and Ford used the parts from the ship to build his portal. I'm calling it now. When the aliens crash landed in Gravity Falls, its engines opened up a rift that let all the magical beings now in Gravity Falls spill out. Bill, who noticed that, was from then on set to get it once again to open up for him to cross over."
Nice. Yeah, definitely a lot of...
Wow, nice.
No, yeah, not Bill. I'm not saying what Bill's
that was
doing
so
is
pleasant.
nice.
Oh.
What a nice guy, that Bill. But yeah, so...
We did a whole podcast about why that is not the case.
Yes.
The three of us.
Yes.
Good times.
Yeah, good times.
Wait, now last time Just a Guess 12 was on this podcast, I specified that because they haven't been on the podcast 12 times, they were just a guest.
Yeah.
Just a guest.
Still just a guess, because they have to be on it 12 times.
You're right. Now, why did they set that threshold for themselves? Because we don't have 12 more episodes, Ella.
All right.
But I would like to read this from Just a Guest 12, who says, "I'm going out on a limb and saying Blendin is the ice bag given today's events. Also, holy shit.
Yeah, so Blendin, we actually didn't really touch on it in the pod.
No.
We were too busy talking about what a jerk Ford is.
He is, though. He is.
So
Yeah.
the pawn that Bill was looking for in Last Mabel Corner is revealed to be Benjamin Blandon. Convenient, because he has the goggles covering his eyes.
Justin deserves an Emmy for this, honestly.
Yeah.
This is the best Justin performance.
Well, Sarah,
performance.
what was your reaction to Blendon being heard in
Oh,
this
I
episode?
thought I legit thought it was just Morty. But I was like, Morty?
Is he really gonna be here?
But Justin is doing the Blendon voice slightly wrong.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was too he was stuttering in a way that was a lot like Morty. It was
Right,
just
like he was stuttering
Morty?
in the wrong places.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he does briefly, and we could play the clip, but when it transitions to him revealing he's Bill, there's a Justin Roiland laugh that fades into an Alex laugh, and his imitation of Alex's evil laugh is really good.
It's great, yeah. And it's a good reveal, too, because, Blendon is...
We've never seen his eyes. We have literally never seen his eyes.
Exactly. And
it looks so weird.
He is a simple man with eager ears.
And he also is someone who is not based in Gravity Falls, but can travel to it, so whatever protections Ford is putting on the shack don't really make any difference.
And it works because, it really is the perfect... to get Mabel to hand the rift over to Bill.
I had someone in my comments be like, well, Mabel, ended the world that one time. And I'm like, well, Blendon tricked her. And then they responded, I don't know what that word means. I don't know that word, sorry. And I'm like, did you see the show Gravity Falls or just...
Right, and because after Blendon's game, which no one was really arguing that it was an unimportant episode, but now you really can't.
No,
absolutely. It's the entire reason that...
God, I love Blendon's game.
The entire reason that she trusts Blendon is because they are on better terms now, and the fact that he deals with time travel makes it perfect for him to present a solution to Mabel's problem of not wanting to grow up. And it's that great, like Sarah, you pointed out when he's like,
unless you're ready to leave Gravity Falls.
It's such a sinister read.
But also the lighting was really that you have to pay attention to not only dead giveaways. In my opinion, I wouldn't say completely dead, but they give you a sense that something's not right. Is definitely with his arms behind his back and the shadow being on the on the front.
And then when he starts laughing, he puts his arms up at his side Bill does.
Unless you're ready to leave Gravity Falls was the dead giveaway.
Yeah,
it was Bill for sure.
And in the next episode of What Probably Happens in Gravity Falls after this, I did a joke where Bill watches Rick and Morty to try to get the Blendon voice down.
Yeah.
He's repeating Morty after he says...
Maybe he did.
Before anything else, it was a matter of getting the voice down. Fortunately, I found this TV show that has 2 whole seasons completed, and there's this guy who sounds exactly like him.
Outside this building. I thought you said this was...
Oh, jeez, Rick.
I don't like to break rules.
I don't know if that's...
Yeah, that's a real...
Such a good idea.
Nailed it.
And then Joey 19982.
Is that Joey 1998 too? Like, I'll call myself Joey 19. It's like, I'm sorry, in the 90s, there were a lot of Joeys. Yeah. Slim pickings.
Responds to Just a Guess 12, saying, I'm kind of surprised it wasn't considered before. After all, the ice bag was the whole reason Blendon was introduced.
Was the ice bag the whole reason Blendon was introduced?
Sort of, yeah. The Dipper,
yes, the ice bag first appears in Time Traveler's Bag.
Dipper's taking the ice bag to, well, that specific ice bag, yeah. With the tear in it, because he bumps into Blendon, and that's where he's first established, to Dipper at least. Yeah, so people are now thinking that the ice bag symbol on the on Bill Cipher's wheel refers to Blendon because he's playing a pretty hugely important part here.
The symbols inside the UFO that Dipper took a selfie with are written in the extraterrestrial symbol substitution cipher, which is an alphabet replacement cipher they're also known as.
Yeah, so you could just brute force it until you figure out what
yeah, like as Jason Ritter told us, a way to brute force it is E is the most common letter, so look for the most common symbol, that's an E, and then start building.
Yeah, if you
start Wheel of Fortuning from there.
Look for like 3-letter words that are maybe those.
And that'll get you a T and an H, which will get you a bunch of other words.
Yep, exactly. The codes are...
Probability Drive Engine.
Probatorium.
And beyond.
Used Thetans, half price. It's slightly misspelled, but I believe this is referring to the concept of the Thetan in Scientology, which, again, with the Scientology jokes on this, with Alex Hirsch.
I mean, he did say that cults were his special interest for a bit in secret societies.
So in Scientology, the concept of the Thetan is similar to the concept of self or the spirit or the soul.
In Buddhism, it's called the mind.
A Thetan can be incarnated many times over lifetimes.
Like the mind, yeah.
Which is why the joke is used Thetans have.
That's good. And then one says, specimen has escaped, is changing forms. I don't know what that means.
Well, presumably referring to the shapeshifter.
Right? From, okay.
It can change forms. Cool. And they... Well, actually, that code, as well as the UFO itself with the alien skeletons and that kind of thing.
That kind of thing?
Yeah, it's inspired by The Thing. No?
Sorry, I haven't...
Not ringing a bell?
Who directed it?
Yeah, it's a John Carpenter film from 1982, and it's about a
I've really never heard of it.
Although what's interesting is that it's never clear in the film if the titular thing, the shape-shifting alien, was like piloting the ship and is what that species looks like, or was it an experiment that was on board the ship and the aliens are a different species? But here it is the latter. It's confirmed that it was an experiment on the ship.
And there's also a ladder on the ship.
Although actually, actually, it's not the shapeshifter, but Shapeshifter Senior, I guess, or Shapeshifter, whatever generation, because Ford
found the shapeshifter as an egg. So the shapeshifter either is still out there, or just like died like 3 days in the woods.
Yeah,
like it's like, all right, now the whole world is my oyster. Oh God, why is it raining? I hate this.
They had to adapt invincibility to water first. It was very
and wood. That's the thing.
That's the other thing about aliens.
Yeah. They shouldn't land on a green and blue planet, honestly.
No, they really
That movie's stupid.
It's no The Thing.
Well, I love The Thing.
Yeah. You've watched it.
I've changed the bit.
I know you changed.
You can just change bits.
You can just change the entire premise of a scene in scene.
Or change what your monster in your movie looks like. It could be played by a different actor in one scene.
Yeah. True.
So along one of the pipes in the UFO, there's a cipher written in the extraterrestrial symbol substitution that decodes to Betty and Barney were here. Betty and Barney Hill were an American couple who claimed they were abducted by extraterrestrials in rural New Hampshire from September 19th to 20th, 1961. It was the first widely publicized report of an alien abduction in the United States.
I remember when I first saw this code and I didn't look up the cultural context, I was like, Flintstones joke?
Wait, here's a weird question. Were Betty and Barney Rubble named after a recent news story?
It is possible.
In their 60s sitcom.
You're right.
This would have been all over the news, the names Betty and Barney, a few years before that show first aired.
You're right.
But when did the Flintstones start?
Oh, 1960. Okay, then it's not. Oh, wow. Maybe Betty and Barney changed their names because they loved the Flintstones so much.
Or maybe they were Elizabeth and Barnold.
Yeah. Then they were like, wait, we can get more media attention if we name ourselves after cartoon characters.
Barney's short for Barnold, right, Sarah?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. The crying. The credits cryptogram is, "Did you miss me?" And the key is Blue Book, seen on the fences surrounding the UFO spot on the hill. That is not a reference to Kelly's Blue Book that tells you how much your car is worth. That is in reference to...
What if there's an alien Blue Book that tells you how much your UFO is worth?
Project Blue Book was the codename for the systematic study of unidentified flying objects by the United States Air Force from 1952 and 1969. The reason that there were so many unidentified flying objects in the 50s is that Russia kept telling us, we're going to fly something over there, we're going to bomb you. So when we saw something in the sky that we didn't understand, we were like, that's probably bad, I should call the government. Yeah. So there were so many reports of these that they had set up a project to determine whether they were Russians, whether they were extraterrestrials, whether it was just crackpots.
Could be Paul.
They decided crackpots regardless of any... conflicting evidence. My favorite documentary is about this. Let Me Know is a documentarian from Sweden who posts all his stuff for free on YouTube. It is film festival quality. Please link his video where he goes through the parts of the Blue Book project that sound like they're probably aliens and talks about how the government's just like, I don't know, weather balloon. One of them was a bunch of weather balloon enthusiasts were out and saw something flying that they didn't recognize. The government came to check the report, listen to the interviews, and they said, we're the world's foremost experts on weather balloons. We know every weather balloon. This wasn't one. And then they just wrote down weather balloon and left. And this was not actually to make people afraid of aliens. It was to make people not panic that the Russians were attacking, because they didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
They could just say it was nothing, and then there wouldn't be a panic that we were about to get nuked. But the Cold War and that single-handedly is why UFOlogy is a thing as big as it is.
Right.
Because the government was like, no, it's nothing. What was in the sky? Nothing. It was nothing. You didn't see anything in the sky. And everyone's like, hey, why is the government... It was like Alex with, or like removing Tad Strange from...
Right. By denying it, you're making it more interesting.
And it's such a good video. It'll be linked in the description. I'm done praising it. Just watch it.
The end card combination cipher is, the prophecy seemed far away, but finally we've reached the day. Give up the past, embrace the strange. Everything you care about will change.
So now that it looks like the world is ending, thank you for coming on the podcast to talk about...
In the TV show, we talking Watsonian or doiliest?
Yes. But in the show is mostly what I was referring to.
We're here to talk about a TV show we like.
A TV show where nothing bad happens. So thank you.
Another
wacky episode filled with silly jokes for kids, and thank you for coming along with us on this one, Sarah.
No, seriously, you are like, if people who are fans of Tolkien could call themselves scholars, a decade after Return of the King was published, then by that definition, you are, in my opinion, one of the world's foremost Gravity Falls scholars. Obviously,
really?
Kirby.
Yeah.
But no, you are brilliant and amazing and hilarious. And really? I know you said that you're more comfortable with your words when you're writing than when you're thinking off the cuff. But this is a buffering approved podcast. I stop and just I fell asleep while we were recording. I stood up and paced around and danced. It's fine.
Yeah, no, but the thing is...
Ella witnessed both of those things.
I didn't realize you fell asleep.
I did.
The thing is, when I'm writing, I can go back and then rework and get the right words on the page
but
in
also
the right
you can
order.
do that in you can do that in a podcast, because you can just, if you don't like how you said something, you could just re-record it and no one will notice.
So where can people find more of your brilliant and hilarious and what was the third adjective you said?
We could make up your own.
Blarble.
It's funny. It was funny.
Podcast.
It was funny.
Oh, funny.
But
Funny's
you already
good.
said hilarious, though.
Well, I think those are different.
Okay, so where can people find...
I would never do something that was funny.
Okay.
I don't stoop that low. I only...
So where can people find more of your brilliant, hilarious, and funny ideas and things that you do?
I'm going to plug my Tumblr, which is weirdmageddon.tumblr.com. We can finally say it.
We can say it with pride now.
Yeah, finally. We had to get you on 2 episodes, literally. You had to be on 2 separate episodes for one Tumblr plug.
Just for a plug, yep. But it's worth it, because it's a great Tumblr.
And you have so much fascinating things to say about this episode, and I love this episode of our podcast.
Yeah. And what else you got?
Yes, I got a Twitter, Pyramid Serum.
And you have a Bill side blog?
Yes, my Bill side blog, which is Cryptic Phantasm.
Nice.
We'll link your card then, because now we can link to all of your accounts finally. So we'll link your card.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, we have kind of the equivalent of a card, I suppose, because if you want to find more episodes of this podcast,
a lot of you are driving, so we just have to. Everything you need is going to be in the description. But in case you're going to work. Here you go.
You can goof off while you're at work and go to our host network, pipedreampodcast.com, where you can find this podcast and other shows.
To listen to at work.
Yeah, like Escape from Walt Disney, How Did This Not Get Made, and Come On for Google Pods.
There you can find a link to our show's social medias, Discord server, and the Patreon, where people give me money to hang out with my best friend.
Yeah!
I'm not saying you have to. We are comfortable. You have all been incredibly
We're
generous.
comfortable. We're rolling in it, baby.
We honestly, for hanging out with you, yeah, that's
for something.
That's a surprising quantity of money.
Something that normally gives us zero money.
Right. So, no obligation, and a share would honestly probably be more likely to get us multiple
true.
Patreon pledges.
Right.
So if you want to retweet it or something.
That's patreon.com/Mystery Shack. $3 will get you a shout out at the end of episodes. $5 will get you into viewing parties for the episode. We'll be watching Dipper and Mabel versus the Future for this particular episode. $40 gets you a voice commission from Charlie or an art commission from myself. I'm actually working on one right now, and it's really exciting.
Whoa!
Yeah.
And you worked on some merch for us. That's available.
I sure did.
At the link in the description. But if you're driving, just remember this one.
If you're driving, just remember crowdmade.com/collection/Mystery Shack look back. Keep that one in there.
And if you've been told to stop visiting websites that we tell you to at work, just remember that long enough until you're off tonight.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Or just look at it on your phone while you're in the bathroom.
Or just forget. I don't care.
Well, I would like you to buy some merch.
I would like you to, but I can't control you.
You don't have to.
No.
You're right. Unless we make a deal.
Also, if you would like to talk to me or normal Ella, who's still herself, mysteryshacklookback@gmail.com if you want to contribute to the final days of our museum.
Aw, are we gonna have to... Yeah, before the wrecking ball comes in, we're just gonna...
No, I mean, this podcast will stay... We will keep paying for the feed to stay up forever.
Yeah.
I would like to thank Brian for making the instrumental to our theme song. I would like to thank Sim and the Nimble V2-0 from Tumblr, for making the intro to the Hall of Conspiracies. I would like to thank Tsunami Holmes on Tumblr for the Stanford handwriting font in our thumbnails. And
Adam, I realize that lighting our spit on fire is probably faster than just removing it from the files the normal way, but maybe don't do that next time.
Yeah, I also don't think it's flammable.
No, it's difficult.
All right, Sarah, play us out.
What?
Oh, that was you usually with the uke. Okay, yeah, sorry. I'm never in person with you, so I don't know where.
Oh, yeah, this is what I look like.
Okay. You're gorgeous. Wow.
Thank you.
You go? We getting a live? We getting the first live? So, by the way, actually, Ella just recorded it once when we started the podcast, and we've just been using the same clip every time until today.
Ooh.
All right. Take me back to the place I know, with the Mystery Shack and the forest gnomes. I'm already packed, so come on, let's go. Don't get me started, my heart's in Gravity Falls. Perfect.
Hey, YouTube Ford.
Hello, Table Read Stan. Care to explain what you're doing in my lab?
Well, I charged a bunch of people a lot of money just to say their names. Suckers. Anyway, there's a lot of them, and I don't feel like, reading them all myself. You want to do some?
I have many moral objections to this, but you've tempted me with an organized list. Thank you, too, Daddy Driftwood.
And Daddy Buttons.
Friendly Local Geek.
Fun Boringness.
Hugh Salinas.
Juno Series, I guess it's pronounced.
Liz Clark.
David, oh boy, okay. Gansel?
You got it, yes, Gansel.
Aren't you Mr. Fancy?
I was voted Mr. Fancy 5 years running.
Don't remind me, I remember.
Richard Scanland.
Jamie Belts. I want to belt a couple of shots of whiskey after this list. Go ahead.
Ryan Faber.
Stephen Patrick Mulholland. Oh, Mulholland Drive. Very interesting. All right.
It's a good film. Gwen Prime.
Junior Bruh.
Joseph Jones.
Olive Pluto.
Oliver. There's an R there, Stan.
Oh, Oliver Pluto. I'm sorry, I was distracted by the object that's no longer a planet at the end.
Kuiper object, that's the term.
Whatever for. That was your thing, not mine. Oliver Pluto.
Petey Piranha Plant.
Elizabeth Neuenfeld.
Mumpletine D. Wumpletine.
Oh boy, these kids these days. Vanillin Sucker.
Zucker, not sucker.
Whatever, he's a sucker. He might be a Zucker, but he's also a sucker. Vanillin Zucker.
Ro Davis.
Adam with 2 A's, a D, and an M.
Delphine Dussy.
May? Just May.
Jessie Marie McDougal.
B. Calisoda.
Rich Rawl.
Easy Snake Oven.
Samantha Angley. And Spencer Neil Campbell. Stan, what are all these patrons paying for anyway?
Oh, just the essentials. This brown meat doesn't buy itself.
Nor does Fully Clothed Women magazine, evidently.
Hey, keep your hands off that. Help me stock up for the apocalypse at patreon.com/mystery shack.